everything's right on time.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to open the meeting for the Personnel Board for September 18th, year 2018. First on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. We would all rise, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Second on the agenda is the minutes from our last meeting.
Peter, I need to print those.
Okay, then what I would like to do is make a recommendation that we'll either accept the minutes toward the end of the meeting. If not, we'll
Yeah, I think
vote on it at our next meeting.
I know I read them when they came through
Yeah,
online, but it was a while ago.
I did too. Okay, item number 3. Ora Finn is here to present to us a request for her assistant town clerk.
Yes, I am. Absolutely here to present something for Jacqueline Phelps particularly, but overall I think it's the position, the wage salary for the position that needs to be looked at. And I've been before the board before, and I promised I'd be back. Here I am. My proposal right now, and I've created a packet for you with the assistant town clerk's job description. Also, if you continue to look, just Mass General Law is saying that the assistant town clerk has all the authority and responsibilities and is subject to penalties the same as the town clerk in the town clerk's absence. This position is far more than just clerical, filing, answer the phone. There's a lot of responsibilities involved here. Currently, the position is paying $18 an hour. When Jackie started as the assistant, we started her as $16 an hour, which was $3 below the average starting salary for this position in comparable communities. And I know making comparisons is difficult because, different towns, you can look at the populations, but then again, you have to look at, the tax rate, and it's very hard to make those comparisons. So I've just put a lot of information in front of you. You've got a current spreadsheet with, more than a dozen communities that were nice enough to respond to my request. That was just done a couple of days ago, showing the town, the population, the hours their assistant works, their annual salary, and, of course, how many years of experience that they have. And also included in that is a survey that was taken, I think, last June, and you can see more communities there. I have done several calculations, taking local towns or towns with comparable population, et cetera, and I think what I'm going to ask for in your recommendation, I hope you agree with me after reviewing all this, I would propose that the position is raised to $19 an hour, starting with this fall annual town meeting. And I'd like to make that a dual recommendation that this position would go up to $20 an hour on the spring annual town meeting. Right now, with 35 weeks left in the fiscal year, that would be an increase, I believe, of like $875 that I'd be asking for, because she only works 25 hours a week, so it'd be $25 times 35. And then in the spring, I'd like to see it increase to $20 per hour. I'd also just, aside from the job description and what she's being asked to do, you also, she will have 3 years experience by next spring. She's been attending classes on planning and zoning and subdivisions and elections and vital records, and her experience and background has just increased greatly over the last 3 years. She's my right arm. She ran the office when I was out with back surgery earlier this year for several weeks, and she was down there by herself running the office without a hiccup. She even had a special election that she ran in my absence that she oversaw. Also, keep in mind, please, that I will be retiring next year, and the assistant town clerk will be expected to train your incoming town clerk, who will have absolutely no background and no experience, I can imagine. I don't think there's another town clerk in Dudley right now that's going to be running for that position. So the assistant town clerk will be the one with all the knowledge in that office, and I think she should be paid for appropriately.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
Any board member comments?
I'd like to hear Mr. Valiakonis's thoughts on it.
Thank you, board members. Ora and I have had discussions over many months about this position. She's come in, and we've had continual discussions, and I think one of the concerns is, since the town clerk is elected, this position is the continuity or the bridge that would bring us, have someone with knowledge that's in the office, and I can't speak to the fact that I think that's really important to our operation. If we didn't have an assistant, and conceivably someone's elected as a town clerk that really doesn't understand what the duties and responsibilities are, this position becomes vital. And I think that if you kind of go through and you do a gauge of the salaries that Ora has provided us, I think it justifies the fact that the position is being paid on the low end. Even when you look at the communities that are in our ballpark, and I use Charlton, and Leicester, Oxford, Southbridge, Spencer, and Webster, which are shown on Ora's salary survey. Leicester is the low position at $17.54 an hour, but if you look at the other positions, they're all considerably higher than what we are paid right now. So I think it justifies the fact that she has a good proposal. This position is vital to the town, and I support her efforts.
May I make an additional comment on Leicester? I did speak to the town clerk there, and they are on the low end, and they are prepared to go into their next town meeting asking for $20.34 to increase that position to where it should be. And I also did take into consideration the, how we like to phrase it, the Dudley discount. Yep. And I know the goal is to pay our employees at least 90%, because we do have a low tax rate, and I really did take that into consideration before I came to you with this proposal.
Okay, I would like to comment that I personally think that this position is extremely important to the town. We could not function without a good, well-trained town clerk or town clerk assistant. I am also a very strong believer in skill-based employees, and that employees should be compensated and recognized for skill base. I have not read this proposal completely, but in principle, I would recommend that we accept the proposal, and until we get a chance to look at it further, then I would defer any questions that we have to go to the town administrator, but basically off the top of my head, I think it's a reasonable recommendation, and I think we should give it some serious consideration.
I make the motion that we support this as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just think it's so significant that it's an elected position, and there is no committee reviewing resumes and determining qualifications before there's a vote on it. So I think it's very important to have someone who's in the office to train.
I support Mary Beth's comments. I personally would have liked to have seen this position become appointed position.
I tried.
But it's also very, very important because I don't think we realize how fast time moves, and before you know it, Ora will be enjoying retirement, And we need somebody certainly well-qualified to help get the new clerk up and running and on board as quick as possible.
I would like to remind everybody, too, that, you know, I'm kind of leaving on a busy year. This is a state election year, so the new incoming town clerk, when he or she takes office in June of 2019, isn't going to have a lot of time before the March presidential election. They are going to have a year of baptism by fire, because that is going to be a huge election year for them, lots of things going on. So you really do need somebody in there that can kind of take charge and know what an election is about, and know all the requirements. And there are many, many layers to elections that you have to know. And now we do early voting as well. So there's just so many things. It's so important for us to acknowledge this position and have somebody paid properly so that they want to stay and not move on, not use us as a training ground, in other words. So I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Peter, just
Yeah.
to follow up, my concern is, as you can see, there are a lot of positions that pay significantly more than Dudley. If the incumbent decides that she wants to move on, we would miss her greatly, but we also want to make sure that we're able to attract
absolutely.
someone. And the only way we can attract someone would be to raise the rate. That said, I hope that the incumbent stays here for her career.
She has no plan. She really loves it here. I just want to say that on her behalf. She's downstairs, but she really loves working here and loves the office and what it's about, and really enjoys going to all the workshops and conferences and networking with all her fellow town clerks. She really has embraced the position.
We also have to realize that she also works for the town accountant. She does billings on Wednesdays.
She does, and she really loves it. One of the reasons that she did consider taking that position, though, is the assistant town clerk's position is only 25 hours a week. Now, I have had a clerk for 10 hours a week, 12 hours a week, 19 hours a week, no hours a week, and my department is one of the few departments I feel it really should be considered at some point in time to increase those hours. 25 hours is not enough to cover the demands of that office when every other office in the municipality at one point or another comes through the town clerk's office. We handle all of it. We have to know a little bit about each office. So, and the demands are getting greater. Just as a recent example, all the requirements now through the RMV, where you need your birth certificate and your marriage certificate and everything else for your permit, we could use another part-time person in there just to handle that. It's so the job load is increasing, so that's something to consider in the future.
Or would you be willing to come in and meet with the selectmen at some point, since it's a money article and we'll need to fund it at town meeting?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Rich?
I just need to echo Aura's sentiment. I have 39-hour-a-week clerk and assistant. The assessor has it as well. Aura's assistant should be 39 hours per week with no other obligations other than the town clerk. I agree. Aura and Jackie did a tremendous juggling act when Aura was out to make sure that all the deadlines were met, that things were done. There was a laundry list of people who always seemed to miss them, and from a casual observer, everybody got extra attention if they weren't met, if they were met with a closed door. So I'm with you 100%. The additional 14 hours are deserved.
Needed.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, Peter, would I be getting something in writing as far as your recommendation that I could bring to the Board of Selectmen?
Say that
As
again.
far as the vote, the recommendation that was taken today, will I be receiving something in writing from the Personnel Board that I can present to the Selectmen, or is the fact that Greg is here enough for
More
that?
than minutes?
Okay.
Would you want to a specific letter from us, or would the minutes of this meeting be sufficient?
Defer to Greg. Do you think I
Um,
need just the minutes, or is your presence here
I
good
think
enough?
the fact that we'll put a cover memo with it, and get it before the board
Okay,
forthwith.
thank you.
With the fact that I'm here, I can speak to the issue, the personnel board supported it.
Carol, you'll take care of that? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Looks like the rainy season has arrived.
Oh, my goodness.
We're already inside.
Free car wash. Okay, item number 4, appointments and resignations, there are none. Item number 5, citizens' comments. There are none.
Oh, no.
Okay, yes, Rich. Sorry about
You
that.
moved over to the side.
Hey, Rich.
Good morning, good morning. I tried to get onto this agenda. I'm asking officially, when you close the agenda for this, I have an email on Friday at 9 o'clock. Thursday at 9 o'clock, hoping to get on. I too would like to advocate for my assistant. Is that something I could give you a preview of now, or can I confirm I could be on the October meeting? The object is, of course, to get onto the Fall Town meeting. With the proper channels. We don't want to have something in the Shepherd Hill cafeteria with 10 minutes to go to push something through, which is why I had reached out last week.
Okay, to answer the first part of your question.
Please, thank you.
Yes, you sent the email on
Yep.
Wednesday at 2 o'clock or whatever it
Yeah.
was. No, I didn't open my email at home until Thursday at some time. Carol had already done the agenda.
Okay.
And I
that-
believe we post the agenda on Thursdays. Yes, so that we're 48 hours,
Right.
and we meet the requirements for posted meetings. I did talk to Rich a little bit, and told him that I would defer his request because I did not want to have any violations of the open meeting law where we were discussing something that was not on the agenda. Rich said he understood, but I think we can allow him to comment in general, but we will not take any action or any vote at this meeting.
I appreciate the time, thank you. Let's step back 4 years. Longtime assistant Rosalie decides to hang up her typewriter and retire. We hire Lisa LaMarche, who is now my assistant treasurer and collector. Recently, I approached the board for an increase up to $19 an hour. Thank you, that went through. We've come to another chapter. Lisa has completed her 3 years of study with the Mass Collectors Treasurers Association and is qualified to sit and to pass the same exam that I have taken. So right now you have 2 certified Mass Municipal Treasurers in the building. And we're looking to have her salary be reviewed. And it's sort of an interesting situation in that, much like the town clerk Aura, I have salary surveys. Anytime a job gets posted, I seem to make a note of it. I'd be bringing something like that. Also, the fact you have someone who has a key. They have the ability to walk down the street to the neighboring municipality and get the job done. She's got a college degree. She has the state certification recognized by the DOR, 4 years progressive experience, and she does a very good job. So I appreciate your time. Love to get on the October agenda so that we can, I'll give you a complete detailed packet. Actually, with the chairman's permission, I'd like to be able to give you that information well ahead of time so that in the event any questions came up, if there was a concern, anything, much better to have things in writing so that you could review them when you have a moment.
Okay, Carol, you'll make sure he's on the agenda for our next meeting? That would be fine if we had the information well in advance so that we can all review it and study it and then take steps further than that. I personally would like to say congratulations to Lisa on getting certified. Job well done. And I'll second my first comment about skill base. This is definitely an improvement through skill base. So congratulations to Lisa. Anybody else have a comments?
No, I agree with you.
Okay,
Wonderful, thank you.
thank you. Okay, item number 6, old business, hiring process and flow chart. You have in front of us a flow chart that we have had, but we made some minor adjustments to it. On the third column, second item down, was an adjustment where it says candidates interviewed by the Personnel Board and Department Head. The previous chart said it would be done by personnel separately and department head separately, and we've combined those. The one in the darker print on the far right-hand side where it says department heads select the candidates. There was a question on whether that candidate has to go before the Board of Selectmen. I do not believe that is so.
No, it has not been the practice in recent times.
That is correct, because we questioned that in a little bit. I do know that appointed positions where the selectmen have appointed authority.
Police officers, firefighters, and
Yes,
such all come
yes,
before the board.
okay. So what I would like to do is have the vote of this board I recommend a motion that we accept this flow chart and we distribute it to every department head, the Board of Selectmen, the administrator, the library chairperson, director, and that we make sure that everybody knows the process, the hiring flow chart process.
I'll make the motion that we do it as suggested.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
Good idea.
Item B, salary wage chart. Carol, that's this?
Yes,
Yep.
on that list, if you look over to the right-hand column, it says FY '18, low and high. That was prior to the 2%. That's been adjusted in the columns under the headings of the grades, low and high. So those that are in the left-hand side are the updated with the COLA.
Okay, so that is this column here?
That would be the low and the high, and then the prior year,
Yep.
FY '18, is over to the right, just so that you can see the difference between that. For
Okay,
instance, MST one is now 29,636.10 for the low, and last year it was 29,055.
Oh, okay.
okay. So this is now complete?
Yes.
Okay.
Down at the bottom, we have 3 positions that have not been included in there, and they should be, I believe that Joan had indicated these needed to be included, correct, Joan? And Greg did say that the MST 9 and OAS 7 need to be on the town meeting warrant, so we need to do that before October 5th.
Okay. Any questions? Greg, any comments?
Not at this time, although when I look at the positions, I just want to ensure the fact that we meet the legal requirements, which is minimum wage. But no, I don't have any comments or concerns.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion, accept the chart as is?
Do we need to, Carol just said we needed to add these two, and do we need to get those numbers first before accepting anything?
Why don't we make a motion to accept and to amend the chart once we receive the MST 9?
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I have a second?
Yeah, well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Unanimous. Okay, item C, Supervisor's Handbook. Carol, give us a little brief, please.
The supervisor's handbook, it doesn't have a cover, so we can add that later, but this is the information that I believe was done originally in 2006. Do you know any more about it, Joan? I've been through the computer looking at policies and seeing that we have a lot of policies that we may not have included in the employee handbook or so forth, so this was one of them that probably should be updated since it's been 2006.
Okay. I would like to postpone any vote on this right now until we all had a chance to study it, review it, highlight some questions that we might have, make some additions or deletions if needed. So I would like to table any action on this until we've had an opportunity to look at it.
Could we have a copy of the previous one so that we can see, or is there any marked up copy that we can see what the changes have been made, or is this the old, this is the older one that you're looking for changes?
Right, correct.
So there hasn't been any input by any departments for
No.
changes?
Okay.
Okay,
I thought somebody was looking into this, was working on this already. Weren't you and Lorna supposed to?
Yes. That's what we voted.
Okay, Lorna has not been available for
I'm too sick.
a while. So I would say we have not taken any action on this. So what I will do is I will contact Lorna and see if she is available, and if she has a conflict, then I will ask another board member to help work with this. I think it's something that we need to meet with the supervisors also to get some input from them. But I'll take care of that, Joan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item number 7, new business. Item A, bylaw adjustments. At the Selectmen's meeting last Monday, the Board of Selectmen voted to make some tweaks or changes or suggestions to the bylaws. And I believe it was bylaw number 4, section 5, that concerned a little bit about the personnel board. One of the recommendations is that the town administrator be the director of personnel. I did talk to Greg a little bit about that, and it's not going to affect us very much at all. But out of courtesy, the the administrator needs to know what's going on, and so he's kind of requested that if somebody wants to come before us, that he at least has an opportunity to have it run by him first before we just go ahead and do that. I believe the suggestions are in the hands of the town attorney to check to see if things are legal.
Correct. There's a couple of components to it. There's also defining the town administrator's job and duties, and defining some of the duties and responsibilities of elected officials. Sometimes those things are similar to what's in the charter. So although they're good ideas, the question is what's the proper manner for adoption? And we'll depend upon council to give us a ruling on that.
Okay. I personally support the town administrator being the director of personnel, because he guides the town, he or she guide the town in what direction that the town needs to be going in, and that the personnel board needs guidance also. So I think it's a good recommendation, and I support that. Any comments from the board? Hearing none, I do not believe any action needs to be taken on this. This is more for information only. Item B, anti-harassment policy. I know we have,
Thank you.
thank you.
we were sharing this, I'm sorry, I forget. Are you all set with this?
No, I got that, yeah, I had it, I'm sorry,
Oh,
I had it. I had put it over there.
I know the town has a sexual harassment policy, But in today's world, harassment policies encompass a lot more than just one or two items. So I think we need to update our harassment policy. Carol just handed out a guideline on 5 effective ways to upgrade your anti-harassment policy. I think we should take a look at it, and we should take some action on it to make changes to our current policy. Would any board members like to work on this?
I'll help out.
And I volunteer to work with whoever is on your end.
Okay, so it will be Jim and Mary Beth? And you'll work with the town administrator on making sure we do it properly, because I'm sure there's got to be some kind of legal wording that we have to have in some of this. So if you'd be kind enough to get together and get the administrator's input, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, and I think we discussed at one point appointing an ad hoc committee to review the employee handbook. Would anybody like to work on that also?
I'll work on it.
I'll work with you.
Okay. Rose and Joan? Work with Carol? Thank you. I just want to comment about the wage chart a little bit. Jim, I think you had recommended to me about possibly getting involved with Nichols College. And Lori Smith has offered to make a connection for us because she knows the staff up there and the people up there. It might be a student project to help us with the wage chart with the other towns. Jim, would you be willing to work with Lori?
Yes, I would.
Thank you very much. I will let Lori know that. Now the board's busy. That's a good thing. Item number 8, board member comments. I'll just make a comment. I like to see I'm happy with the direction that the personnel board is going. We're working on a lot of things. I know it takes time because we only meet once a month, but I want to thank everybody for volunteering. And I especially want to thank Carol for all the work she's done.
Yes.
Item number 9, any other business?
We need to go back to the
Peter?
minutes.
Greg?
Yeah, just a couple updates. Mr. Guyon, who's the highway superintendent, is going to be retiring on October 11th, and the Board of Selectmen is going to make an interim appointment. So there'll be an interim highway superintendent. I expect that interim appointment will be in place until such time as the selectmen have had a chance to review and act on the management review study that is presently ongoing that involves the highway department, the water department, and the sewer department. So depending upon what the recommendations are that come from that study about consolidation or creation of new positions or any other strategies, the selectmen would like to bring on an interim. One of the candidates that's being considered is in-house, and that may create another opening also in the position of foreman. So, and that would also be acting. So, the only other thing that I do want to update you on is we will be submitting an article to town meeting for the fall for funding the compensated absence trust. You say that, what is that? That's the cost that the town pays when employees leave service due to retirement. They're eligible for a 50% buyback of sick leave up to a cap of 60 days. There'll be at least 2 more retirements in this fiscal year. So between now and June 30th, we'll have 2 more people that are gonna leave service, and we wanna make sure that the money is there to fulfill our financial obligations when those people leave service. That's it.
Okay. Are we funding an account now? Because last time we had
We do.
voted to do that.
Yeah, so what we do is we'll fund it in the fall of every year. We'll fund it from available reserves. And what we'll do is we'll look at who we have for upcoming retirements in that fiscal year. We'll fund it, we'll put in a little bit extra, because what we want to do is build that account up. But I anticipate, as I've reported to you previously, there's a large number of retirements that we're going to be facing within the next 12 to 18 months, and we need to kind of be prepared to handle those.
My question is there gonna be a transition period between the temporary highway department supervisor is and the one that's still on board, so they can understand what's going
Yeah.
on?
Absolutely. At least a week is what we would do. So I expect the selectmen will be acting on the interim highway superintendent appointment at their meeting on Monday night. So that gives us at least some time, and those two will have a chance to work together.
Okay, now, before we close, I'd like to go back to item number 2, meeting minutes. Everybody should have a copy of the minutes in front of them now. Would anybody like to make a motion on the minutes?
I'm making a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second it.
Second by Rose. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Here I just have a couple of things.
Yes.
The employee database that I've been working on, I've created the fields and I've populated most of the information, so I should be able to show it to you shortly. Also, the sexual harassment policy that, at our last meeting, you wanted that sent out as soon as possible. That was sent out August 23rd. I've received some back, but not everyone's. So I'll be following up with those that I haven't received to make sure we get them all.
Okay. And Carol, you'll make sure that all department heads and directors and commissioners get a copy of the new hiring flow chart.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting is the third Tuesday of October, and I don't know the date offhand.
16th.
The 16th at 9 o'clock. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Greg, thank you very much for attending.
You're welcome.
Thank you.